The Life of Death by Nightmare Darkness, read by Deathlights. Chapter 7, Clues and Darkness. Feeling the hot air assault my senses, as I seemed to walk into an oven, and I quickly raised my hood to fend off the uncomfortable temperatures. Discord made a gesture with his paw, fanning himself, and a fan appeared. "Well, don't worry about catching a cold here," he mocked. I ignored him, but he seemed fairly quiet, given the setting. "Not a fan of Hades," I said pointedly. "No self-respecting plenty would like it here," he said, sipping a cup of water. "Well, it's not all bad when you get used to it," a third voice said smoothly. I turned to see Firepleaser look at the most oddest pair. Death and the god of destruction just walking into Hades. So that's how it feels like, getting the drop on you?" Discord said, smirking. Firepleaser walked over to us. I had to admire his seemingly without a care in the world way. He made everything attitude. What with the war looming and souls missing? "Celestia sent us to help with the investigation," I said, getting to the point. His stoic face looked slightly annoyed. "We have it under control," he said, assured. "I'm sure, but it's a matter of making sure," I said quickly. Fire was giving me the same political rundown I had dealt with my entire life as a lawyer, and I was good at that game. "This way," he said as he began to lead us. It was quiet for a moment before the moans and screams of the tortured began to echo off the walls. My skin crawled as it was going on, but unlike I was being led to the castle at the same time, I was being led to the fields of pain themselves. A new fear gripped me as we ascended the steps. "So, Firepleaser, does your name benefit your job? Or are you just a simple pyro?" he said jokingly. Fire looked over his shoulder, and I swear to this day, a glimmer of joy flickered in his amber-red eyes as he said, "I got my name and key to mark for slowly burning a soul of a young mare. She had murdered 37 Steins by luring them with sensual pleasure, and I used fire to show my pleasure." He chuckled. Both Discord and I stopped and looked at each other, just shocked, and quickly caught up to him, but kept my distance. We arrived at a station that was warped and demonic in nature. The train engine was, if anything, alive. A single slitted eye where a headlamp would usually be, and it looked at me, giving me pause for my mind to catch up, and tell me that I was indeed in Hades. Firepleaser walked up behind a normal-looking earth pony, but her coat and mane was dark as moonless night, around the sparkles of purple dots that seemed to pop out of nowhere, and disappear just as quickly. "Eddie, this is Death," Fire Dancer introduced. Eddie turned towards me, and her eyes were light purple, but her irises were a deeper shade as she looked at me. The only other thing I could say was she wore a black scarf. Now I didn't know why she wore a scarf in Hades. What mares do for fashion, even in Hades? "Charmed, but why is he here?" she said. "Right, I looked like a guy," I suddenly remembered. "She is here to help with the investigation," Fire explained. To this she frowned at me, obviously unhappy. "I don't need help, but they must be here, the train is here, and it has since been interfered with the sense of crime," she said, looking over a clipboard. I looked at the train and was automatically taken back at how long it was. But things odd happened. My eyes keyed in on the 76th car, where a small bit of residual darkness was clipped. I began to walk without bothering them. Discord smiled at me and looked at the spot as I stopped. "Looks an awful like the darkness you mentioned," he said, making eyeglasses and inspecting it, as if he was Sherlock Hooves. Firepleaser and Eddie looked at me. "It seems you had the same problem I did, but this time they got the souls they were after," I said. "I can track this back to the source," Discord said, sounding serious for the first time. "Really?" I asked, surprised. "If it wasn't for your keen eyes, I don't think we could have found this key piece of evidence," Andy said, slightly impressed. "It wasn't my eyes. It was just the robe. Just what else could this robe do, I wondered." Discord snapped his claws, and then a clear box appeared in his claw. He picked up the scrap of darkness, which seemed to come alive at his touch, and placed it inside the box, closing it. A thread of white smoke materialized, gave a direction down the tracks. "Anybody want to stop me from walking into the unknown against Celestia knows what?" I offered. Of course nobody said anything. "I have to report this back to Lucifer," Eddie said, looking at Firepleaser. "You have this?" she asked him. "Naturally," he said smugly. Indy scoffed at him and vanished into a puff of purple sparkles. Firepleaser stepped forward towards Discord and myself, who looked at each other. "I'll accompany you," he said. "More the merrier," I said, but I knew he was my full sitter, made to keep tabs on me. It annoyed me, but he was known by Apple Scroll, and I trusted her judge of character. "Alright, let's do this," I said as I lifted my scythe, and began down the tracks into the unknown, with a god of chaos and a demon. Okay, everybody. First off, I know this is going to be a day early than normal, but finals week is coming up at school, so I'm going to need to do this one tonight so I don't have to worry about it over the week. And I'm going to be also probably working on other stuff too. over the week, including finals, so. Oh man, so if my roommate's a vampire is out a day late, you know why too, it's because I probably just came home and just crashed. So, as to the story, we're finally going on. They're going to they gone back to Hades, and instead of going straight to Lucifer, she kind of went a bit sidetracked, I think, because I believe she was just gonna go down and talk to Lucifer about things, I thought. But no, she met up a fire pleaser, which they changed his name to Fire Dancer, and some, I don't know, they just mistyped it or what. Anyways, and we got introduced to a new character, Fire Pleaser's friend, which I can't remember off the top of my head right now. Ed, I think, something like that. Anyways, and so she goes back to inform Lucifer what's going on and stuff, and something new, including the train that was just talked about. And now they're going down the train tracks to find out where the souls have gone missing. So, hooray! That just keep going on and see how the story goes.